Hi everyone! Today I'm here to talk about Once Upon a Time in France by Fabien Nury and Sylvain Vallee. Sorry if I said the names wrong. Um, they're French and I don't know French. But yes, it is a French graphic novel that was translated into English. So, like I said, I don't speak French, so I don't know if the translation is good and cannot speak to that, but it tells the story of a Jewish man named Joseph Joanovici. Once again, don't know if the last name is pronounced correctly, but he was a scrap metal seller, I guess. Like, he would get it and sell it out to places so that they could use it to make things from it. And he dealt with both the Nazis and the French resistance and just kind of played with both of them, and also um, did deals with like the French mafia at the time and stuff like that. So it was really interesting because the Nazis actually let him stay alive because he was producing these metals that they needed to build things with. And they gave him false papers saying that he wasn't Jewish and he had like an SS identity card and everything so that he could go through checkpoints without any problems. And so that was really interesting to see how he, this is going to sound really bad, but proved his worth to the Nazis so that they kept him alive. And I say that sounds really bad because obviously they shouldn't have been killing anyone. Okay, that was horrible. But it was really interesting to see how he stayed alive. It is a work of fiction, so it is based on his life. And I think one of the most frustrating things was trying to find out what was real and what was fake. Like, I tried to do so much research afterwards, and basically every article I read about him just referenced this book, and I was like, no, I need to know what's true in this book and what isn't, not just about the book itself. So it was actually really hard for me to research that, and so I'm still not sure which parts were 100% true and which ones were the fiction parts. But I mean, overall, the story of Joseph Jonovici is true. Like, he lost his parents in a pogrom in Russia, or what was then the Russian Empire, I believe. Today it's Romania. Um, and then he moved to France with his wife Ava, who'd also lost her parents during that. And so that, like, overarching arc is all true, but like the different characters and the different places he was in, like, did he really have this person assassinated? Was he really there when this person died? You know, things like that are kind of like, it was really hard for me to find out if that was real or not. um the other thing that I didn't like about the book was it was super confusing. The first, like, section jumps back and forth between all these different people who I had no idea who they were. But then after that, it follows a more chronological order. But some of the characters look so similar. Like a really skinny guy who wears a suit and a really, like, broad-chested tough guy who wears a suit. And I'm like, all these people look so familiar. It was hard for me to honestly keep track of all the characters. But other than that, it was such an interesting and compelling story based on true fact. The artwork was amazing. Like, um, yeah, a lot of research went into it to try and make it, you know, authentic while still making it a work of fiction. And so I really appreciate authors that do that. I would definitely suggest it because, like I said, it's a story of survival, but also how sometimes, even after the fact, people do horrible things. Like, he survived the war, but afterwards he was still doing his business with some pretty shady people. And like I said, I don't know how much is true, but it ruined his relationship with his wife and his daughters. The guy who is trying to catch him in the book, I'm pretty sure, is completely a work of fiction. But it also shows how sometimes when good guys are trying to catch the bad guys, they become bad guys themselves in the process because they'll try and do anything to catch the people that they believe are guilty. And so that was also really interesting to kind of see how there weren't really any good people in this book, except for, like, the wives, to be honest. Like, all the men doing all these shady stuff, even the prosecutor who's supposed to be a good guy, like his life gets ruined and his wife leaves him and his boys go away and Joseph loses his family, but I feel like their wives and their children were like literally the only good people in the book. So that was really interesting to see. And I mean, Joseph did save a lot of people's lives by having them like work for him or getting them false papers because he had the money to pay for them. And so it's really interesting to see, yeah, how people can do lots of really good things for others, but also really, really, really bad things. And so I definitely suggest reading Once Upon a Time in France by Fabien, Nury, and Sylvain Vallee. Once again, sorry about the names. It kind of reminded me of Mouse and the fact that maybe it's going to be banned soon because it has depictions of bad things happening to people because, I don't know, that's history. But yeah, I definitely suggest it. And my question for today is, if you can find any research on this book, will you please give it to me? Because I really want to know what is true and what is not in the book. So yeah, that was Once Upon a Time in France by Fabien, Nury, and Sylvain Vallee. If you like my book reviews, please subscribe down below. I post one every Friday. Please like and also comment if you know anything about this or have an interesting story or want to know more about this book. Definitely check it out. Thank you for listening.